What's good, everybody? It's your boy Biscuit, back with another one. Alright, so I appreciate you guys coming through to check out this Halloween series. I got the stupid mask on. I'm gonna take it off so you guys can hear me, but yeah, so if you've seen my preview, my little commercial we did, I did 5 different masks for the 5 different nights that I want to do for the series, for this Halloween series. We're just gonna do 5 scary stories. Hopefully they're pretty entertaining. I hate scary stories. I don't do good with scary things. I'm kind of a bitch. So but we're gonna see how I do. Every night I'll just put a stupid mask on. I did them in order that I wanted to do last night. If you've seen the preview, I did them in order, so the next one will be for the next video. But anyway, just having some fun with Halloween, having some spirit, because 2020 sucks. So I appreciate you guys coming through, and we're gonna hop right into this. Let me turn on a couple lights here. Alright. This is my wife. She hasn't been in any videos in a while. We did an Adam Calhoun reaction with me once. That was pretty cool. So I appreciate you coming through. We're gonna see who screams first.
You.
Probably me. So let's fucking do it. Let's go.
Have you ever walked in a house and felt something off? A strange, almost inexplicable feeling? At what point does that feeling become impossible to ignore? A strange felt. Have you ever walked in a house and felt something off? A strange, almost inexplicable feeling? At what point does that feeling become impossible to ignore? Impossible to explain away? Or as the father in our story puts it, just a house taking time to warm up to its new owners. In this week's story, we find a father with a front row seat to a nightmare that unfolds before his young family.
That's great because, you know, I'm a young father with a family. I already don't want to watch this.
Yeah.
I hate this shit.
I'm Ryan Bergara, and this is Are You Scared? A show where I tell my friend Shane Madej the internet's scariest stories that may or may not.
Yo, shout out to these guys too. If you haven't seen this show, go check it out. These guys are so entertaining. Between actually feeling scared and then bringing you out of it with some entertainment and laughter, the mixture of fear and laughter is super entertaining. So go check them guys out for sure.
Not be true. Now, I have not read this story before, and neither has Shane. So lock your doors, turn off the lights, and let's see if we can make it until the end. In the Walls. I moved my family out of our house a week ago, and I'm glad we did. I think the first thing that struck me as off is the fact that all the houses on the street had been built sometime in the 1980s. The odd bit about that is the fact that nobody had actually lived there in almost 3.5 decades. Nobody had ever lived in that house. Once we were settled in, we were actually very happy there. Bizarrely, it just felt so perfect and right, when actually there was something very deeply inherently wrong about the place. The tension began on one typical gray London morning. My wife was going to drop off our 4-year-old son Daniel at school, which usually takes about a half an hour. It was the oddest thing. As soon as she shut the door behind her and I was alone, I became aware of a feeling that I hadn't felt before. I refused to accept it, but a tiny part of my subconscious expected that there was an intruder in the house.
It's scary from the jump, right? Because suburbs very scary sometimes. Children are very scary. So
What?
That guy.
What?
As soon as I heard his voice, I was waiting for something smart to come out of his mouth.
That dude's so funny though. He low-key comes in with some random ass
He said
crazy off the
suburbs
wall.
can be scary sometimes. Children are scary.
So that's 2 for 2.
Well, also, there's the fact that this is a home that's been built in a suburban neighborhood, yet nobody's lived in it since it was constructed, and that's been over 3.5 decades.
That's a deal, probably.
Probably quite the steal, but normally things like that do come with a price to pay.
I think I would very happily live in a murder house if it really drove down the cost of it. I'll do whatever I have to. I am desperate to own a home. Always have been. if you got to make some sacrifices and clean up some entrails, then sure, happy to do it.
Now, what about supernatural remnants, though?
I don't give a shit about that, you know that.
It was incredible
Fuck,
how
I do.
quickly the mood shifted as soon as my wife stepped into the house. As soon as I was no longer alone, the uncomfortable feeling lifted and I could actually feel the warmth of the central heating. The next morning, I dropped off Daniel at school. I was driving back when I got a call from my wife. Her tone was very casual. It almost sounded forced. And she was only asking when I would be back, but in a prolonged way, as if she was trying to keep the call as long as possible. She didn't mention anything when I returned regarding the feeling, but through her smile, I could see that she was a tiny bit spooked. To be honest, I felt it was nothing really, just a feeling that people get sometimes. A house that hasn't been lived in for decades might take some time to warm up to its new owners, I guess. The next day, while my wife was out getting groceries, I made a little discovery. The strange feeling grew more intense in certain parts of the house. The thing about these places is that they were the only parts of the house with mirrors in them. With time, I came to hate those parts of the house and those mirrors. Oh shit. Yeah, sitting in the dark is already messing with my head. I literally thought I saw something move out of the corner
I
of
know,
my
I'm starting
eye.
to trip for real though.
Not cool.
I gotta jump in
I'm low key like tripping already. I'm like, damn, maybe we shouldn't have turned the lights off. For real.
here and just for the record say that these people sound nuts.
People sound nuts. What are you talking about?
They're nuts and very needy. Oh, my wife isn't around. I feel silly in my tummy.
I don't think it's a matter of codependent behavior here. I think it's a matter of sometimes when you're alone somewhere, you become a little bit more aware of your surroundings, and sometimes your surroundings become a little more aware of you.
You know, people are babies. I feel like you just gotta get comfortable with being alone.
I think the point you're missing here is they might not be alone.
Oh, there might be something in the walls.
Nothing new happened for about a week. I just avoided being in the house by myself, and I noticed my wife did the same, although we never discussed the fact that we felt uncomfortable being alone. It was a new house. We didn't want to spoil our first days there with negativity. At least our little boy didn't seem affected. Daniel was playing just as happily as ever with his toys. He even managed to invent an imaginary friend to play with.
Oh.
Now, I don't like that.
I love it.
There was this one night, however. I woke up to use the bathroom. I was shocked by how cold it was. I looked at myself in the mirror for a bit and then sat on the toilet seat to do my business. That mirror was giving me a bad feeling. I kept imagining that I could see something moving around in the mirror, and yet there was nobody else in the room but me, not even a fly or a bug. It happened at least 3 times. Then I got up, washed my hands, and just stared into the mirror for a while just to make sure. It eventually made me uneasy, so I hurried back to bed and actually found myself hiding my face with the covers.
Guy took a shit, got real scared, and then was like, ooh.
Here's the thing, I can't really giggle at that because I've done that before in some of the haunted locations we've been in.
But then you're risking, I mean, if it's a classic horror setup, you've got the covers over you, and then when you finally decide to look, then there's the
Face
mirror
right
man,
there.
you know? And he's like, I saw you taking a shit.
You ever done that, like be like half asleep or middle of the night and like look in a mirror and or look somewhere in the dark and think you've seen something?
No.
Like it's happened to me, or like if you stare at something long enough and tell yourself there's something there, and you're like half asleep, you'll actually think there's something really there, even though it's not.
No, when I'm half asleep, I don't talk to myself.
Okay. Anyway.
He just comes over, whispers in my ear, "How about a courtesy flush?"
That was a pretty nuclear dookie you dropped, bro.
I think I saw something in the mirror again the next night, and the next. I think I even saw a face for a split second in the downstairs hallway mirror as I walked past. Of course,
Yeah, your face,
I knew
buddy.
it was only my imagination, but it was getting more irritating than frightening. So I decided to ring up one of those priests, those spiritual sorts who know how to brighten up places with negative energy in them. She turned up while our son was at school, a frail old Japanese woman who must have been 80 years old at least. Her son dropped her off since she was very weak and unable to walk the distance. In spite of how bony and old she was, she made the place feel very secure.
Leave this lady alone.
He's really going to town on this lady.
This frail
Man.
old lady with skin like rotten pig.
I almost spit the bang out when he started laughing. I was taking that drink.
She made the place feel
Jesus
very secure.
Leave this lady alone.
He's really going to town on this lady.
This frail
Man.
old lady with skin like rotten paper.
She made the place feel very secure and comfortable. I almost wanted her to stay with us so that we could be assured that we would have no negative energy. She told us that she had burnt incense in some of the rooms and that she was going to go over the rooms again just to clear out any remaining negativity. But then she suddenly went stiff, and her quivering smile became a screwed up scowl, and her watery eyes hardened. We thought she was having a stroke and reached for the telephone to call an ambulance. Turns out she was fine. She told us not to touch anything or move. We listened and watched, dumbfounded, as she rushed to the wall with impressive speed and pressed her ear against it. She whispered some words which we couldn't hear, and she seemed to be receiving a reply as her expression changed and contorted. Whatever she was hearing can't have been good because she gave a shriek and sprang away from the wall. The old woman grabbed my wife by the shoulders and shook her firmly as she said, "You no live this house." "Why not?" I asked. "Man in the walls," she shrieked. "There is man live in the walls. Bad man, man in the walls."
Sounds like there's a guy in the walls, huh?
The old woman, without even putting her shoes on, stepped outside the house and urged us to come out with her. Her son picked her up, and when he saw her in a nervous state, he gave me and my wife an unfriendly look before driving away. Man in the walls. It was chilling to hear that, and the look of terror on the old woman's face convinced us that she was serious. But being modern cosmopolitans, we just agreed after some conversation that she was doing that to frighten us, or that she was just old and batty. But the phrase stuck with me, man in the walls. I even admit I put my ear to the wall to see if I would hear anything. Nothing. As I was slipping into bed, relieved that the day was over, a cry from my wife got me out of bed. She rushed into the bedroom with a look of utter horror on her face. "Man in the mirror," she screamed. Man in the mirror. I had enough sense to realize that she was not talking about the Michael Jackson hit. She was genuinely terrified.
Be funny if she was.
She just comes out and goes, "Man in the mirror. Fucking banger."
Thriller!
"Honey, it's 3 a.m. I stormed into the bathroom and looked into the mirror. It was just a normal reflection. There was nothing there. I stood there for a while. Then I began to cry. I was too tired to carry on with this. I forced myself to believe there was nothing funny going on. I didn't convince myself. We went to bed and I was about to turn out the light when my wife told me something that made me shudder. "You know, Daniel has been saying some weird things lately. It could be just coincidence. Do you know anything about his imaginary friend?" I chuckled. "Well, I know that Daniel spends an awful lot of time with it. What does he call it again?" Then she said, "Wallman."
Creative kid.
I realized just then the creepy connection. Wallman. My wife continued, "He said his friend has a round face with black eyes and a big smile, and he's really thin so that he could fit in the wall. I found it cute at the time, but now, I don't know. I got the biggest chill I had got in a long time." Then she said, "Well, there's more. We were in the park. I asked him if he wanted to invite Wallman for a picnic. He said he couldn't. He told me that Wallman is only in our house and never leaves. That one made me laugh a bit when he told it to me, but then he gave me this serious, worried look and said, 'Don't laugh, Mummy. Wallman doesn't like you and Daddy. He hates you. He says he only likes me.'"
Oh, I mean, I hate them too.
I shuddered and
I
took
got
a deep
goosebumps
breath.
for real.
The air suddenly felt colder and more hostile.
Yo, I got goosebumps for real, y'all. That was for real, giving me chills. Like, no fucking joke.
"You know," I said to my wife after a period of silence, "I really do think we should move out. This stuff is creeping me the hell out. I don't think I could sleep now. I don't feel safe." Nevertheless, we both managed to sleep after a bit more conversation on
I
where
don't
we
blame you,
could move
homie.
to.
Shit.
It was a Saturday next morning, so we had a bit of a lie-in. As I waited for a kettle to boil, a voice caught my attention. It was Daniel. He was raising his voice. I found him looking up at the mirror, tears running down his cheeks, in the downstairs corridor in a heated argument with somebody. He screamed, "No, if you don't say sorry, I won't be your friend anymore. No, 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 I don't want to. You're not nice anymore. Go away, I don't want to go with you." I rushed along and lifted Daniel up, carrying him away from that mirror. Then he cried, "Wallman wants me to live with him in the wall. He wants to take me in the wall, but I told him I don't want to." I handed him to my wife and shouted, "I can't put up with this bullshit any longer. "Wall man, where the heck are you? Come out, you bastard." I had never spoken in front of my son like that before, but he didn't seem unsettled. He seemed glad that I was angry at his imaginary friend. My wife took him upstairs while I raged on for a bit. We had breakfast in silence, and after a while, it all seemed okay. And then something happened that was amazing. Nothing. Nothing at all. There wasn't even a weird feeling of anxiety anymore. It felt like a normal home should. Huh.
I gotta be honest,
That's
if
it?
Wall Man invites me into the wall,
What?
I'm going. It sounds nice.
What?
He's just gone. He just left. He's like, oh, sorry, my bad.
Yo, my bad, G. Yo, kid.
What?
Chill out, kid, bro. I'm just trying to have a friend, bro. Like, my bad, dog.
I was always a big fan of the borrowers growing up, and it seems like living inside walls is very chill and cozy. I have long talked about how much, and this is, to be clear, this is not a sexual thing.
Well, now I do think it is a
No, it's
sexual thing,
not.
but proceed.
It isn't.
Okay.
I'd just like to be very small and be able to sleep inside a matchbox. So his father said the B word in front of his poor son, who had never
He's a
heard him
bastard.
speak like that. And then peace and quiet?
Peace and quiet. For now. It felt like a normal home should. Even stranger, a whole week went by and it was Sunday again, without a single weird thing happening. Our house was beginning at last to feel like a home. We had less work, so we spent more time with Daniel, and he seemed to forget about his imaginary friend, which was actually a relief to us. That imaginary friend had seemed like something else. It seemed wrong to be coming from the imagination of a 4-year-old. We thought everything was fine, but then something made us think twice. Yellow mold had started to grow in circular patches around the house. The patches were about the size of footballs, and they gave off a rotten smell. We decided to leave it be for a while, but the patches turned up suddenly in more places, and they were too ugly and stinky to stay. We called in a man to investigate and sort out the mold problem, and while he worked, the 3 of us paid a visit to my parents-in-law. We got a call from the man dealing with the mold at about 8 o'clock in the evening. He sounded troubled, and he told us to come home quickly. We were very agitated throughout the car journey, and when we saw policemen standing around our home, my wife looked as though she would cry. A policeman stopped us in our tracks as we made our way towards the front door. "Stop right there, sir," he said. "I highly doubt that you and especially your wife will want to see what's been found in your home. You aren't suspects, don't be afraid, but I tell you, mate, it's ghastly." There were holes in the wall. Men in uniform and masks were carrying small objects in plastic bags out of the house. The mold specialist was sitting down with a cup of coffee on the sofa, his head in one hand. An inspector was waiting to speak to me. Now, don't take this the wrong way, sir. We're not accusing you of anything. The things we found date back at least a decade, judging by the state they're in. Then I was told, once I had promised to remain calm, that is, that behind each of the 16 patches of mold were the bones of a small child that had been found curled up inside the wall. The children were all between the ages of 2 and 5 and were recognized as children that had gone missing in the area over the past 30 or so years.
This really doesn't quite add up. I mean, that's a lot of spackling. That's a lot of drywall, damn it. Like, are they adding kids to the wall every time?
Yeah, that's true. Those serial killers are pretty meticulous. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if he wasn't a stranger to Home Depot. Gross either way.
It's not a good technique, not a good method. Wouldn't recommend it.
Our son never got told about the children in the walls, and hopefully he'll never ask so we won't have to tell him. He never mentions his imaginary friend Wallman, and he seems happy enough in our new home, as do all of us. There's one more thing. A few days after he made his dreadful discovery, the mold specialist arranged to meet me at my workplace. He told me that he had something dead strange to show me. It was a picture he had taken on his mobile phone on the day he had been at our house. It was a picture of the mirror in the corridor. Although the quality was a little grainy, a face could be seen very clearly in the mirror. It just popped up at the bottom corner of the mirror, a white face with a wide, thin-lipped mouth and large black eyes. It had very clean, neat teeth. It didn't appear to have a nose or any hair, but perhaps it was just because of the quality of the image. It was grinning broadly, and its eyes were wide open. But what scared me most about the face was the fact that it was there. It was actually there. I never truly actually believed in the paranormal until then, but now I'm open-minded.
Sounds like some baloney, a funny little moon man. No nose?
No nose, yeah.
How's that happen?
I don't know, man. I mean, I also would say that if you were to see that in real life, definitely some poop coming out.
I'd give it
At the very least, a nugget. God, is it weird that I would love to get scared so bad that I shit my pants?
Yes.
Just imagine the experience of so much fear running through your body that it loosens your bowels and poop just slides out of you.
Would that take you out of it and sort of make things better? If there's a wall man who comes out of the mirror and is like, Ryan Bergara, and he's got his big eyes, his rictus grin, and you go, oh, leave me, oh, and then you poop yourself, are you going, wall man, you are not gonna believe this? And Wallman's like, what? And you're like, don't you smell it, dude? And he's like, no, I don't have a nose.
Stupid.
Oh my god.
I only have one mirror in my house now, in the bathroom, and I avoid it like the plague. And sometimes, only sometimes, when I'm alone at home and it's quiet, I press my ear to the wall and listen carefully. Then I look into my mirror for a while just to make sure there isn't anything else in there. I guess mirrors are like doors into the wall. They show you not only what's behind you, but what's behind them. Perhaps you should give your mirror a look too. After all, some houses are strange, and some houses have been there for a very long time. With enough time, I think things come into existence in empty places that shouldn't be allowed to exist. Trust me, if you see any strange faces in the mirror, there's a possibility there could be something in your walls. I'm afraid, my advice, just brush your teeth quickly. So, are you scared?
Yep.
I mean, were you? It's about a man in a mirror. That's not a thing
That's true.
is a real thing.
I will say I will be taking a couple less strokes when I'm brushing my teeth.
A bug just flew up my nose.
Maybe that's an omen.
Jesus.
As for whether or not this story is true or false, the producers have said that this story is a creepypasta. It's from creepypasta.com, which means it is likely not true. Creepypastas typically are tales. They're campfire tales, as you have said. Some of them are based on true stories. This is...
Yeah, creepypasta's fire too. If you haven't,
I love creepy.
if you haven't, go watch them too. That's pretty cool.
not, at least it doesn't claim to be. However, I will say that given all the demonic cases I have read, there are things in this that aren't exactly that outlandish that this story could have taken inspiration from or maybe be based on.
Sure.
So,
sure.
That being said,
a good yarn, Ryan. I was happy to hear it, and
Well,
we can all sleep sound tonight knowing that we won't get sucked into the wall, at least not in a bad way.
well, hopefully you won't sleep soundly tonight.
Oh.
Oh God, is that how you're gonna end this video?
I don't know. Probably not.
Awful.
Well, that was entertaining. I for real had goosebumps, though. I do not like scary stuff. I was scared.
I don't know.
Huh?
You don't like anything scary.
I don't do
Not
scary.
even a little.
Were you scared at all?
No.
I for real looked around a couple times like,
Yeah, but I listen to this kind of stuff on a random Tuesday afternoon.
I don't.
Drinking my coffee, just listening to spooky shit.
Not me. Well, I appreciate you guys spending so much time with me. That was number 1. 4 more. Come back tomorrow for the next one. I appreciate you guys. I hope you guys got as scared as I did, or maybe I'm just a wimp. Let me know. But love you guys. See you tomorrow night.